Hey guys, so the next one I'm trying here is a combination of the cold, which is all the cold gear, um, and but running native Holy Fire. So what we're doing for that is we're maxing all the synergies for Holy Freeze, which is the Scold, Salvation, Blessed Aim, and then Salvation and Blessed Aim is shared with Holy Fire. So if we add the extra points to max out Holy Fire, all we need to do is add to resist fire and we get both auras. I didn't have enough points to max the synergy. I had to add some to this skill tree for Zeal just to get a decent AR. So you definitely want levels with this one. There's probably some slams and changing of gloves and a few things I can do to hit a bit better levels, but I just kind of wanted to see, oh nice, I just kind of wanted to see how well it would perform. I'm going to do Cham, which is pretty close to the Zod level. It's almost identical. I've never really noticed much of a difference, so give us an idea of how well it performs without having that conviction aura. I'm a bit curious to see how heavy the cold carries on its own. So all the charms are cold just to max the Holy Freeze aura. Just my health is a bit lower because I added some points into Dex. Just wanted to make sure I had some good AR for this. So with these builds with mapping or doing this fight, I found that if you just charge, you get stuck in that animate, you'll get that rubber banding. So if you just joust or reposition yourself with your resync key, it definitely helps a lot. Alright, I think that's full. Oh, one. Yeah, that's good enough. There we go. Alright, let's see how the damage feels on Mendon. I'd say I'm hitting him pretty well. Damage on the golems feels pretty good. Yeah, being able to finish all the golems is nice. Taking a bit extra damage here myself. That's just a me problem. I'd say the DPS, I'd have to check the DPS. I thought it was around 33k when I did the Holy Freeze. So a bit curious on that one. Probably have to go back and check. Since I'm not really editing these videos, I'm just talking over while I'm playing. I can't really confirm that, so I'll come back and check that after. As I was talking there, I got kind of confused with the poison. I thought I didn't antidote it, but I double antidoted there. But luckily you don't need to have all of them in this phase, so as long as I don't keep doing that, it'll be alright. If you're like this and you're just refilling your belt, if you're going to run out of potions, just stop damaging the golems. It's better to keep one alive than just die, so if I would have gone down one more potion, I would just have stopped attacking him and gone for the refill and then just kill the golem. I mean, let him heal and then just deal with the consequences. So this should be the last phase here. I do have potions in the cube, so if we need to add those, I will. just do it. Do it just in case, just so we don't have to have any close calls here. I'll be curious in phase 2 if it feels the same as this. This is definitely a little bit worse, I would say. So let's see how it feels in phase 2. Now, why am I doing this? I mean, that's probably a general question. And with all these kings, is what the hell am I doing here? But the idea really is that there is, it's not too sure what aura you would run when you were mapping on your Merc, just because you're already running your conviction normally. So in this case, if you ran yourself the secondary aura just for a bit extra damage, then your Merc can have an infinity, and it's kind of an interesting, it's not as strong as your infinity, so it's like another interesting take. As you're getting closer to 99, it's probably a little bit more damage, depending on the maps you do. That being said, there is rune words you can run, like Zenith and stuff, to do some additional bonuses. So I'd say it depends. It's just an interesting style I wanted to try. I didn't necessarily think it'd be better than the native Holy Freeze, but it's definitely worth trying. We can see that in phase 1. I haven't watched the other video of Zod kill of Holy Freeze recently, but definitely felt slower. So I expect we'll have a bit of a harder time in phase 2 and 3. Luckily, the main benefits of like freezing the knights and the golems and stuff, it persists with this because we're still using the aura. So it's still going to feel better than, the dream version or the dragon. But as of right now, I'm not sure where I would put this. If it's between the native the normal Holy Freeze or the native Holy Shock, I don't know yet. Reserve my judgment a little bit here. Classic, not have enough pots for this phase. I really don't like that design. That sometimes that's super dense and you have way too many pots and you're just leaving so many behind. Other times you can't even fill up your inventory. I don't think it's really fair when we're talking, people just going for auras or even farming. Once your build is like very strong, you're not that worried about it. But early on, when you're more on a budget, I don't think I don't really like that design choice. I've raised that concern before, but so I think the devs know, so it's up to them what they want to do with it. If that's kind of what they like to. I know they don't want it to be a free fight in terms of rejuves, but I don't think I'd be okay with it limited in phase 1, but just give everybody whatever they need for phase 2 and 3. Just pinata of rejuves. I mean. I don't think you should have to have a build early on that you need to conserve potions in phase 1 to ensure that you're going to be able to fill it in phase 2. Phase 3 you always have enough. It's just way bigger of an area. So even if it's not as dense, you're always going to get enough potions. That being said, phase 3 there's a lot of damage from the mobs, so if you have a build that takes a lot of damage, you might, but I honestly doubt it. I've never not had a full inventory going into phase 3. Again, I think that's a bit of design. They know that part is the hardest with multiple bosses at once, but I don't know. Not much point in complaining on that, so. I mean, the takeaway here is that this build can definitely do Zod. Is it better than the normal one? No. But you can do it. I mean, after the dream kill, I think any of these aura builds can do it. With any gear, it's just a matter of how close it's going to be and how much you want to risk it. Considering this is essentially the same gear as the normal version, I don't know why you would run this unless you really just wanted to min-max your mapping and just do this fight for fun. And you don't want to waste respecs going to and from the two builds. It totally makes sense. Also, if you did this fight on Vex or something, it would be much easier. So from that point of view, maybe this would make sense. Yeah. I guess to talk about the other reason that this is even a consideration of working is because of the Doom rune word, really. Because, you know, Doom, it gets the 30 to 50 pierce, so, you know, I have minus 48 pierce on here. That's just silly. Um, it's not in line with the other or rune words at all. It's just really good. So on its own, you don't really need conviction, but it does help. Since they do have pretty high res, let's just run conviction anyway, but that's why it's even more. So that's like one of the reasons why in general the cold one works, but then why you can do stuff like this. The issue is I have basically no fire pierce, so the fire damage is negligible. So I don't think it's really doing anything on things like the Void Knights. On the main bosses, it's a little bit, but their fire res is pretty much the highest, so... I mean, as I'm talking myself through this right now, I realize this is just kind of a waste of time. But... Anyway. You could find ways to add some fire pierce as well into this. I could have done that with some different gloves and fit the IAS elsewhere, maybe move some facets around, but I didn't really want to play around too much with that. Okay, so let's go into phase 3 here. It doesn't really matter too much what boss you hit nowadays. That being I know there is some things I was playing around with to try to force the Knight's phase out first, so you don't get all these happening at the same time. I'd say you can... The damage is still pretty strong on the Void Knights. So the damage is definitely still there. I just don't think it's better than the Holy Freeze with Conviction Max. Now, number of potions left, again, that's going to highly depend on how good of a knight's spawn you get, and like in general how they come out of the void, like when they actually spawn. They spawn in a big group and you can just AoE them down with the splash damage and Holy Freeze, like, you're going to save so many pots. Also, when Rathma decides to basically AFK like that, that definitely helps. I think when the other one moves away like that, not ideal. So I think he'll move into the center and I can get this guy on the way. I'll get the other one after. Alright, this is unfortunate. So what we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is we're gonna have to drop the cube in this one. The better part of this fight is you gotta make decisions quickly, because like, if you start running around, not sure what you want to do, if you want to heal or drop your cube or whatever, or attack, or which mob you want to attack, like you're gonna take extra damage, you're just gonna extend the fight, and that's what's gonna make it look worse. So, yeah, this is not as good. I don't know what else to say, but it's definitely interesting. So, does it work? Yes. Would I recommend it? No, but yeah, it's another option you can do for this. So yeah, that was Dual Aura Paladin.